It will also serve as a makeup if anybody needs makeup. I think the best thing to do, though, before we can start anything, is to introduce the guests that we have so that everybody knows who's here. Now, my guests are my wife Grace, who everybody knows, and my sister Sue, who I follow around all over town. I can't keep up with her. So call her my little sister, but she's got so much energy I can't believe it. And my date over here. Come on. David, who's your guest?
I have my lovely wife Tony with me today.
All right.
I have my boyfriend Arturo.
Hi, Arturo.
Yeah, and I have my wife Jenny.
Jenny, okay.
And my wife Molly.
Rupert,
And my wife Margaret.
Okay. And here's Bob to introduce.
My wife Ann.
Okay. Now, for the guests, Rotary always starts our meetings with a Rotary prayer that all the Rotarians know by heart and can just shout it out at the rooftops. But for the guests, and Andy's printing cards up so that everybody is going to have this in their pocket.
I'm printing more cards up.
Yes.
I already gave you guys 50 of them.
Yeah, well, we've been spreading the prayer all over the country. So there's our prayer. And may I start it by saying that service about self prayer. Everybody together.
Open our eyes that we may see. Open our ears that we may hear. Touch our hearts that we may love. Clear our minds that we may think. Strengthen our hands that we may work. Amen.
And before we start eating, we need to thank Josh. We've been talking about this. In fact, Josh had invited us out over a year ago to take a tour of the facility and see where he is all the time and how difficult it is for him to get out of here to get to the plane. So we've come to Josh and Josh. you get several makeups for this one. And so we want to thank Josh for hosting us here. What it's allowed us to do, since we didn't have a regular meeting on Thursday, that money that was set aside for the meals, and it's approximately $350 to $400, was contributed to the CART fund, the Alzheimer's fund. And you saw last week that we gave a check to our district governor for $1,000 for the number of things that we've done for Alzheimer's. But Josh, it wouldn't have been possible if you hadn't stepped up and said you would do this picnic for us and host us, and we really appreciate it. So, and may we get started with the food, and then the only thing on the program is Josh, because he's going to do his member moments. We said, look, we're coming out here. He's already ordered his M&Ms. I've got them available. But we need to get everybody with chairs around the table. Figure out how to do that. And then go ahead and start grabbing your food. And we hope Bob Coots gets over here too, because we're going to be touring the airport at about 1 o'clock. And we want Bob to say a few words before we go over there. But I'm sure he'll be here. He loves Hamburg, so I'm sure he'll be here. Okay, lead the way. Since you're going to be the leader within another couple of weeks, David's leading the way.
I'm first at the table.
Hamburgers and hot dogs are already bugged up. Salt.
Ring the bell. Okay, there's no real formal program, but we wanted to include a number of things while we're all together. And
Larry, what about a parade of the Rotarians' legs? You want to lead?
That's why there's no formal program.
John.
But for all you guests are with us, and maybe you already heard about what we've been doing all year with member moments. We've been having lots and lots of fun with this. It started out, the member moments were only going to be about 3 or 4 minutes. Member moments have turned into a second program because sometimes they last up to 10 minutes or longer. I remember when Andy was telling us that all the companies that he worked with that have gone bankrupt over so many years. And Bob tried to do, what was it, you were trying to take the controls of a helicopter away?
Yeah.
And they didn't want you to do that. John and his stories of New York. I mean, we've had so much fun with this. So I said to Josh, my gosh, we're coming to your home. Almost, because you live here so much. And would he do his member moments for us while we're out here at his facility? And he really didn't have a choice. I mean, I said, you got to do it. And he's had a great background. So, Josh, could you give us your member moments?
Yeah, glad to. So, Joshua Cody Threet, that's my full name, was born in 1984 on a warm February 26th evening. And my mother, unfortunately, who is with my only child right now, babysitting for me, is a very small, petite lady. And as you can tell, most of my life I have not been small. So she had a natural childbirth to almost a 12-pound baby. So that's her wow moment. She's proud of it. She tells everybody about it. So, I was born in Presbyterian Hospital right here in Charlotte, but I grew up in Monroe, North Carolina, but I grew up on the real south side of Union County. So from about here to that wood line over there was the South Carolina line from our property. And my mother is a self-made businesswoman. She now owns an engineering firm out of Charlotte. And she never went to school for engineering. She started off as a draftsman, and she just slowly worked her way up through the years, designing houses, designing skilled nursing facilities and hospitals, and now they have an engineering firm of about 5 or 6 individuals. My dad, on the other hand, where we grew up was right there on some family land. My dad is a blue-collar man. He's been a blue-collar worker all his life. For the majority of my life, my dad was a third-generation hog farmer. So it was not unusual for me to get up in the morning at 2 o'clock to go load some hogs to go to the sale or to do some other things. And we owned about 5 different hog farms or 5 different locations of hog farms, and we sold about 50 to 60,000 hogs a year. So it wasn't too small. It was a small operation as far as technology was concerned, pretty simple operation, but it was still pretty good size. We eventually got out of it right when I was about to go into high school. Financially, it just didn't make sense anymore. Hog prices had kind of gone down, and so my dad decided to kind of move away from it. So we sold all the hog farms, and he's been with the company he's at ever since, and he should be retiring hopefully within the next 3 years. So kind of happy for him. But growing up, my parents allowed me and my sister. I have an older sister that's 35. She works as a clinical researcher for the Robert Tisch Brain Tumor Center there at the Duke Hospital. And she's the one that does all the clinical trials of all the new polio viruses that they're injecting into the brain stems or brain cells. So all that stuff that you're seeing on 60 Minutes about Duke Hospital, she's doing it. She's not a doctor. She's more of a researcher and a kind of scientist type. But she runs all the clinical trials. So she worked on Tug McGraw, which is Tim McGraw's dad. She worked on the Kennedy, President Kennedy, or not President, but Senator Kennedy when he came in. So they do a lot of things like that. And she lives up in Durham, been there ever since she graduated from Chapel Hill. She plays softball. But as a young professional, we don't know all that much. We just think we do. But I grew up in a small town. I kind of know a little bit of how small town politics and small towns work. Never been that involved. My family had never been that involved in the small towns, and I wanted to kind of be a little bit different. I had a good friend that I played football with in college, Rich Trogdon, that was a part of the Jonesboro Rotary. Worked for the banks here locally. I actually live in the same development as him now. He's the one that kind of got me started, but Larry was the one that was really calling me there at the very beginning, encouraged me to come and see what was going on. And so I really enjoyed it. I know that my participation and attendance is not the best, which is odd because I had perfect attendance from kindergarten all the way to high school. I didn't miss a single day of school from kindergarten through high school until I graduated high school. And I only missed 2 classes in college, and that was because I was in Florida playing football games. So that's all the school that I missed. So it's kind of odd for me to be missing things. But
Well, should we send a bus for you like they did in school?
I'm scheduling on the worst day, which is Thursday for us. Our company operates a lot of things on Thursday, so sometimes it's a challenge. But I've truly enjoyed it. I've enjoyed meeting new people. That's always been a challenge for me, to go out and meet new people. I mean, I've always done well kind of in my inner circle, and when I get introduced into another inner circle, it takes me a little bit of time to blossom, but I really enjoy it. So, you know, on top of maturing as a young man and as a professional, you know, sometimes I got to step outside of my comfort zone and be introduced to new things and new people. So I'm trying to do better I've recommitted to the attendance, you know, but unfortunately the last couple of months we've had admin retreats and corporate meetings and everything that's in Asheville and everywhere else, and it takes me out for Thursdays. But
Well, you take advantage of YouTube.
I do take advantage of YouTube, yeah, I sure do. I take advantage when I get home. That's a perfect thing. Because when you got an 18-month-old daughter that goes to bed at 8, that's pretty. You get about 2 hours in before you have to go to sleep. So really enjoyed it. But you know, just to tell you something quickly about Sanford. You know, Sanford Health and Rehab's been here for a long time. You know, I'm new to. I've been in Sanford for about 4 years. Lived here a year before I started working here, and you know, so I know that this facility and the ambulance who own this facility, they've been around for a very long time. Our company, which is Sandstone Health and Rehabilitation, is based out of Asheville, and we're one of 10 buildings, but we're the second building that ever was picked up by the Sandstone family. So we've been here since 2010. We picked it up when the building didn't look so good in the front. And we worked with the ambulance to kind of do this new renovation that we're sitting in. So we've been here for about 10 years, I'm going on 11 years. Excuse me, we've been here since 2005, sorry. So we've been here about 10, almost 11 years. We provide some of the premier rehab in the area. We do a lot of long-term care. We're the largest skilled nursing facility in Lee County, believe it or not. So we have 131 beds, and we normally operate about 126 beds full. So that's a big feat in itself, because there's almost 300, if not 300 plus beds in Lee County being one of the smaller counties in the state of North Carolina. That's a challenge. So we have to do a lot of marketing and meet a lot of people, and we have to provide great care for people who want to return and hold a good relationship and a good reputation. So we pride ourselves on that. And one of those things is Myra. So Myra and her team is our dietary staff. I know it was just hamburgers and hot dogs, but hopefully you enjoyed it. I would definitely encourage you to come back during the week and just have a meal, because you'll be amazed at what they serve. And I've worked in other skilled facilities, and I know how the food can be, and that's not how the food is here. And that standard was already set by Myra. I can't really take credit for that, so we're really proud to have her on our staff and do those things. So like the lemonade was handmade, the slaw was handmade, the chili, all those different things. So we take pride in what we do here. So if you have any questions about us or need anything, just let us know. So, but we're happy to be part of the Sanford community, and we hope to continue to serve it for as long as the ambulance will have us here. We know we're going to be here at least for the next 30 years, so we're happy about that. But that's it. That's it in a nutshell.
Josh, we know your mom's wow moment. What's yours?
Oh yeah, my wow moment. I don't know. I mean, I haven't really met many famous people. I think my wow moment in life, when I played football in high school, I was actually a nationally ranked offensive lineman coming out of high school. So I was ranked within the top 100 of offensive linemen being recruited my senior year. And unfortunately, injuries stopped me from going to Clemson University, where I had already committed. But I had full ride offers up starting in my sophomore year of high school. So the first school that offered me was Maryland. But anyway, when I committed to Clemson, it was the night that they played Florida State. And they played at Clemson in Death Valley, and it was the two Bowdens. It was the Bowden son versus the father. And we actually got to run down the hill with the Clemson players after we had already committed. So me and about 3 other guys had committed to Clemson that night. So we got to run down the hill. So that was fascinating in itself. That was kind of my wow moment. The real funniest part of the story is that one of the umpires or referees of the game was Dr. Jerry McGee. And if you know Dr. McGee, he's an NCAA, or was an NCAA referee, but was also the president of Wheaton University at the time. I unfortunately was dating a young girl that her mother worked for Wheaton University, and so I knew of Dr. McGee a little bit on the side. He knew I was there, so he came over and talked to me. He asked me what I was doing there. I told him that I just committed to Clemson. He patted me on the back and said, "Great job." He said, "But I'll see you this fall." He said, "I'll see you this summer at Wheaton." He was just kind of teasing around. I ended up getting hurt. My scholarship was retracted. Wheaton came in about 2 weeks before I graduated, offered me a full ride. And come summer, the very first practice that I stepped out on the field, Dr. McGee came out on the field and said, "I told you." It just happened to be fate, but I think the Lord works in mysterious ways, and He knew that my success and the rest of my life was not to go through Clemson. I probably would have been another number. I definitely got lost in a 300-person English class taught by somebody with a foreign language, and I probably would have done well. So he put me down the right track, and I'm proud to say I'm standing here because of it. So, but that's me in a nutshell.
And for the guests, our member moments are always rewarded with M&Ms. And Johnson wasted peanut. So there you
Wonderful,
go.
thank you.
Great job, and thanks again for having us.
Oh, our pleasure. We're
And
glad to
Josh,
have you.
I know a lot of us have toured the facility or been out here before visiting people, but he had said that a 10, 15-minute quick tour. Is there anybody that would want to do that before we go over to the airport? I guess most of us are pretty familiar with it. So, again, thanks very much. The last thing, I did bring the wheel with us so we can do a drawing, and we've got Bob Hughes with us. We're going to go over to his facility and be there shortly after 1 or between 1 and 1:15. He said he would be happy to walk us through all of the runways and parking lots for the next 2 hours. The shower facility will be available right after. We'll try to stay inside for most of it. But Bob, can we ask you to draw? First of all, let me sell you a couple tickets.
Oh, sure.
No.
Is there still time? Is there still time to buy a ticket?
Oh, we'll get you later. For now, it's just, if you draw what we've been doing, again, for guest benefit and for Bob benefit, we changed the drawings that we've had, and you're familiar with the Rotary stuff. We've been in both Sanford and Jonesboro. But we changed ours so that we have more winners and have more fun with this, and it's really worked out really well. So we've been drawing $100 winners. So the tickets you'll get out today will be a $100 winner, and then it goes back in and could win again. So that's been going on. And Richard Carlson has won, I don't know, 6 or 7 times.
I'd sell $300.
He wins and we keep selling it.
You keep selling me more tickets every time I win.
So let me spin this. And then Bob, would you draw? We open the, thank you. Would you reach in there and draw a ticket out?
Okay,
Is it?
I've got a Jimmy Thomas. Jimmy Thomas.
And that's sold by Howard Backover. So we'll get a check to Howard to give to Jimmy Thomas. And we'll get this back. I'm going to keep this out, so to remind me. So, and I'll put it back in for the drawing next Thursday. And Bob, do you have any comments that you'd like to make before we go over to
No, but I think we ought to take advantage of this particular room.
Yeah.
Well, we have it, but we actually, I think what might be best, Larry, is we just meet at the terminal building. It is air conditioned, we can
Yeah.
stay there, and from there, anyone that would like to walk down to the corporate hangar area, that's fine, or over to the Wings of Carolina, which is kind of at the south end of the airport. They do on the second Thursday of every month have a function there where they bring all of their members, allow all their members to come back, and they have hot dogs and hamburgers and pizza and those kinds of things. So they do that. So there should be a pretty decent crowd over there as well. But not a lot of corporate activity today, but we do see a few airplanes, usually the Wings of Carolina, either folks learning how to fly or just some recreational aviation for the most part today. Okay?
And how long have you been interim now?
This is my third month. Yeah, I should say something about that. I left the county maybe 4 years ago. I retired officially, and then I went down to Beaufort County and worked in economic development for almost 2 years, and then had a chance to go overseas. I did that, came back, and really wasn't doing. I was helping my wife sell insurance, and the guys from Lee County, John Crumpton and Carter Keller called, said our manager has left, do you mind coming in and help out? And so I was, of course, I love it. So I'm here, I've been here, this is my third month at the airport. The board has gone through a process of trying to find a new director for the airport. We'll wait probably at the end of the month to see who that might be. And then
Can we turn in our votes now? Are you interested in doing it?
well, I have expressed an interest in doing that.
Good.
So, yeah. So anyway, but I'm having a good time. It's great to see familiar faces again, Larry, so thank you for asking me to come out. And you said just a minute ago, we'll go over to Bob's facility. It's really all of your facility, and I can't emphasize that more. We may have played a part in it, but I think when you look back at the history of that airport, a lot of people played a big part in helping develop that airport. So it is your facility, and it serves a large area in this part of the state. So just kind of keep that in mind as we go through. Okay?
Thank you. I'm not sure, we got things going before we asked you to go up and grab cookies. And so there are cookies on the table that you can grab, either having here or you can eat them on the way over to the airport. And they're not Yvonne's cookies. They are cookies that were baked here. But Yvonne, for all the guests, Yvonne does terrific desserts for us, at least once a month, maybe more often. And she also organized this today. So we want to acknowledge all the work that Yvonne does. She is our family of voters. Okay, I am going to the cookie jar. It's over. meet you over at the airport.
It is.
Can you?
You guys gotta recite the four-way test, you gotta look through Richard, there we go. Go handicaps. You guys ready to say it out loud?
Oh, yeah.
Start with the four-way test, I think, go ahead.
First, it is the truth.
Second is the fair and long concern. Third, will build better friendships. Fourth, benefits to all concerned.
You are now Rotarians.
Do we have a flag?
I don't know if we got a flag. Anybody
Oh,
got
no,
a flag? Somebody got a flag?
Yeah.
All
Hey
right.
Josh, is there a flag out front?
Unfortunately, there is not. There will be one in the next 2 months. We're about to
Okay,
flag on.
anticipating in 2 months, the flag will be I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay.
Hey, so again, welcome to our airport. I want to emphasize that. I happen to be the interim manager, interim director right now. We do have a couple of our line guys here, and I call them the long and the short of it. I've got Randy Wood. He takes care of our tall airplanes, fueling them, and then Kyle right there in the back. He's new on board, and he takes care of our short airplanes. So, anyway, so Randy's been around for what?
For 3 years.
About 3 years. Kyle just started a month ago.
Not even.
Not even a month. So we've got, but you know, you have help that turns over from time to time. People retire, people leave, have other things to do. So Kyle was kind enough to express an interest, and we said, all right, let's come on, bring him on board. And, we'll still continue to look for other people, even on a part-time basis, to get them out here to this airport. So didn't think about this when I was over at the other facility, kind of in the introduction, but this little piece of artwork really does express a lot about Sanford. Right behind that couch, are some chickens, and the couch is kind of covering them up. Some chickens, some grains, and tobacco leaves. All right, so General Shale, a company that was here in Sanford, had several facilities in here. When we were building the airport, they were flying their people in and out of here from Tennessee to visit the 2 facilities we had in Sanford and then one up here in Chatham County. They came in and out of here. They offered to put together this sculpture. So they had one of their artists come in, kind of design it, and then again with our history of agriculture, history of the railroad, kind of our location in the state, in the middle part of the state. Then, you know, what are we kind of famous for, right? And, so we at that time Caterpillar had just kind of started up. We're proud of having Caterpillar there, mowing with their faucets. Those are not missiles sitting on top in front of the Caterpillar. Those are lipstick.
It's Cody.
Interpretation.
That's right. You can do whatever you want. But anyway, with the pharmaceutical as well, at that time it was Wyeth. And then, you know, when you look at the ability of this airport, it does have the ability to take care of not just the small airplanes that you see out here on the field right now, but good-sized business jets. And there was, actually 2 weeks ago, we had a Global 5000 come in. And honestly, it darkened the sky when it flew over. It landed here, parked right out here in front. Were you here? You weren't here that day. But anyway, just absolutely beautiful plane, probably $40–50 million worth of value there. And one person got out. It could take 30 people without a doubt. It could carry 30 people.
And no problem with the runway?
No problem with the runway whatsoever. So one person got out, that plane left, 9 o'clock that night, that person was picked up by another jet to fly off somewhere else. And that's the business world out there that we see some of here at this airport, and certainly we want the capacity to be able to handle at this airport. When you think again about the history and the background, I wanted to just touch base a little bit about the background and then kind of where we are now and then where we think we will be in the future. Because clearly this place has to be run like a business. It has to be thought of as a business, and so while we do have government supporting us and helping us out, it's run like a business, and there's a board that's the authority that's appointed by the city and the county. And then a couple of other people, 3 other people by legislation are served on this airport authority. They treat this as a business. Every month they get to go, they look at, they ask questions about how we're saving money or how we're spending money. It's all about making sure that we can make it work here at this airport. And we're a little bit different. So how many of you remember the little airport on the south side of town? Okay. So we had maybe 3,700